Hi everybody, it's Lynn. Welcome. Glad to have you here today. I'm gonna make an ankle bracelet. And obviously I'm using the beads from our June bargain bead box. I have the 4mm bicones in green and the 6mm cherry quartz glass faceted rounds. I'm using 20 gauge wire, okay, and I just happened to find this little charm in my stash, and since it goes so well with these green bicones, I thought we'd put that on the anklet. Okay, now what I'm doing is using simple loops. Now I'll be honest with you, simple loops for me are one of the most difficult skills. But practice makes perfect, and you just, you just keep trying. And you can always adjust your loops a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But as you can see, I've put together a few, but I've cut a couple of pieces of wire. Depending on whatever beads you're using, you can just guess at the length. I mean, you can see how long I'm using, and I do have a lot of waste with this, but I would rather have waste than get frustrated by having a piece of wire that's too short. You'll also need your round nose pliers, and you'll see a couple of little marks on mine. What I do is I mark where I want my loops to be in size, and I just used a flare marker to mark that. And don't worry about it ruining your pliers. It will not. When we get done, I'll show you how to clean that off. Okay, well, we have a little strand here that's about 7¼ inches long. The standard length for an ankle bracelet is about 10 inches, but you can adjust that depending on what size you need. You can also, do your links however you want them. I'm doing singles of the rounds and 3 bicones in between 2 of the rounds. Okay, so what I do to begin with is make sure my wire is flush, because you don't want a pointy end there. So take your flush cutters and just cut that in flush, and then you just have to eyeball it. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, but I'm going to show you how to fix it if you get a piece too long. So I'm going to purposely bend this so that it's too long, and I just bend it at a 90-degree angle like that. And then put your pliers flush with the end of your wire, like so, and roll. Just roll it. I find it easier to roll it toward myself, but as you can see, I've got way too much wire there. So what you do is you take your flush cutters and again, cut them where you think might be about right, and start over. Do it flush with your pliers, with the barrel of your pliers, and roll. Okay, and there's our loop. It's not hard. It just, until you get used to doing it this way, it can be frustrating. This has been a skill that has been very hard for me. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, so once you get one end done, go ahead and put a bead on. And you want your loops to be going in the same direction. So what I do is I grab my loop at the bottom, take my pliers, grab it at the top, just like so, and then I bend it in the same direction, like that. Okay, and that'll put your loops to be pretty close to exactly perpendicular to each other. Okay, take your pliers, put it flush with your barrels, and roll. And like I said, the more you do it, the more familiar it seems. Okay. All right. And then you can just line up your loops so that they are perfect with each other. Now, I use 20 gauge if I'm doing simple loops, just because it's strong enough to withstand a little tug. Um, if you choose to do wrapped loops, you can do 22 gauge or even 24 gauge, depending on the weight of your beads and so forth. Okay, so to put this on, I just open up one of the loops, put the bracelet on it, and close that loop back down. Okay, and there we have a loop here. Okay, so let's do that again. Making sure my wire is flush cut, and it is. I'm going to grab it and bend it 90 degrees, like so. I'm going to put my barrel flush with the wire and start to roll. Now again, I have way too much wire, so I'm going to cut some off. This is where you just have to eyeball it. You know, I've been doing this for 25 years and this still challenges me. So, you know, don't get discouraged. Just keep trying. You know, none of us are perfect, so, you know, we have to train ourselves how to do things, and that's okay. I apologize for my voice, you guys. The grass pollen here is through the roof. So, you know, I'm constantly battling these allergies. Okay, we put our bead on like so. Okay, hold our bottom loop, grab it at the top like that, and bend it over. And then we'll cut our wire off to where we think is a good length. Okay, grab it with our round nose and roll. Okay, there we go. Here's our link, as it were. Okay, then we just open up, add them on, and close it down. Now let's take a quick measure and see where we are, because I do want this to come out about 10 inches. Right now we have 8. So we got a little bit more work to do. Okay, I cut myself some more wire. I have a huge spool of wire over here and it's quite unruly. So that's why it's being so stubborn on me. I let it slip and it just unraveled like crazy, and I've never been able to get it back. So such are the problems of beading, right? I mean, you know, you just have to like laugh at it and enjoy the ride, because, you know, it's meant to be fun, not aggravating. Okay, so I'm going to grab my wire like so, bend it 90 degrees like that, and I can tell that's too long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a bit off here. You may be one of these people that can just eyeball this and have it perfect every time. I'm just not. But, you know, I don't mind admitting that to you, because, you know, we all have our things that are hard for us, and that's okay. You know, not supposed to be perfect. We're peoples. Okay, there's our loop. And let's see, now we need 3 of the little bicones. So we just put those on. I like pink and green together. I think it's, and you know, red and green are opposite on the color wheel, so opposites attract. Okay, so I'm grabbing my wire like so, bending it 90 degrees, cutting it down to where I think is a good length. I'm going to take my pliers and make sure that wire is flush with the barrel and roll. Okay, there we go. All right, open him up and put him on our bracelet. Okay, I'm going to measure again. Okay, that's 9 inches. So I think what I need to do is do one more of the cherry quartz, and then I think we're going to be at the length we want. Okay, so picking up a piece of wire, it's flush cut, bending it 90 degrees, grabbing it with the barrel of our round nose pliers, and roll. Now you can roll it to you or away from you. It's easier for me if I roll it toward myself, but you do what feels comfortable for you, because I think that's the, that's the ticket to beading and enjoying it. You have to be comfortable with what you're doing, or you have to want to learn the technique, or whatever you want to do with it. So grab it, bend it in the same direction, cut off your excess, and take your round nose pliers and roll it. Just go slow. You don't have to be in a rush to get this done. There's our link. So we're going to open him up, attach him here, close it down, and see where we are now. Okay, we are at 9 3/4, so I'm going to stop right there and put my clasp on. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, because I want this little charm on there, but I want to do it so that it doesn't interfere with the clasp, but I want it to be close to the clasp. So I'm just going to open this up right here, this last station, slide it on, and close that back down. And then I'm going to take a little lobster claw, open the other side up, put that on, and close it back down. And I can use just my loop over here as the ring to fasten onto. So you can put a jump ring in there if you need to adjust it, size-wise, but you certainly don't have to. Okay, now here's our cute little ankle bracelet. And I am happy with the way it came out. I think they're a great little piece to make. Sorry about that, y'all. A great little piece of jewelry to have for summertime, especially when we're wearing our capris or shorts or, sandals, whatever we wear. All right. So now, and I still have a ton of these beads left. Look at this. Let me pick these up real quick. I keep my boxes together until I get down to where there's not enough really to make anything out of, and then I add them to my stash. But however you do, I just do that because then I have my references and everything, with the bag that all this came in. Okay, now I said I was going to show you how to clean up your pliers. This is just a little cloth for cleaning your glasses. You could also use just plain old alcohol with a cotton ball and just wipe down the barrel. See, all gone. And I clean mine up every time I finish a project because if you have more than one mark on your pliers when you're doing something, it could get very confusing. And I don't know how you are, but I like for my loops to be fairly consistent. I think it just looks a little bit more professional if they are. But here's our sweet little bracelet, ankle bracelet that is, with our little palm tree charm with the little tiny pearls for coconuts. Cute. All right, you guys. Well, I hope you're having a great week. It's been fun being here with you. I'm going to keep looking around and figure out something else for us to do. So in the meantime, you guys remember, take good care of yourselves. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.